Okay, so one of the functions of a literature review is to get basic idea about
Yeah.
the topic that I'm going to do a research about. Who
Yeah.
can tell, who can, very good, thank you. Who can give me another function of the literature review? Who can give me another function of the literature review? Uh, I think Carol can give me another function. Carol?
Okay. So the next one I think is setting research questions, objectives, and hypotheses. So I
No, no,
think.
no, no, no. I'm talking about the functions of the literature review.
Oh, okay.
I didn't go to
Okay,
the
okay.
this step.
Okay. So it's like understand the concepts and theories and avoid duplication and be familiar with the topic.
Okay. I was talking now about the functions of the literature review. I didn't go to this point.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Look, guys, I will do something. I'm going to explain all of the points. Okay. Then I will ask you. Fine. So let me explain all of the points first. But please pay attention. Number one, pay attention. Take notes. Notes today are very important. You must have a pen and paper beside you and take notes. Harmanjit, what would you like to talk about? Harmanjit. Okay. So please, guys, prepare a pen and
I was
paper
just going to
uh, and start
answer
being.
the literature review.
Okay, what are the functions of the of the literature review? Why they are
Uh,
good? Why they are important? We have Savrit said because it gives us a general idea about the topic that I'm going to research. What else?
as far as I'm concerned, I just have an example. Uh, Reviewing the literature mainly works when we are we are researching somebody or we are talking to somebody to get some for the investigation or to gather some information. If we are not understanding them, we will review the written article or something to get that information. Maybe
Okay. Do we do the literature review at the beginning of the research or at the end of the research?
at the beginning,
Very good. Why?
we just got some idea what we're going to ask or
Okay,
what exactly we need to know.
so you can actually benefit from the literature review informing ideas about the research questions, right?
Yes, probably.
Okay, not probably, this is a fact. So this is one of the functions of the literature review. And also, another function of the literature review is not to repeat the previous researches again and to try to discover what are the points that were not covered by the previous researches, and you dedicate your own research to cover one of those missing points.
The rest of the points, right?
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. Jihan, do you have any comment about any of the points? Thank you very much. Okay. Harmanji, thank you very much. Jihan, do you have any comment on any of the points?
So, Professor, I had an operation for my wisdom teeth. So I am a lot of in pain right now. So it's hard to
Oh,
talk.
we wish you all the best and quick recovery. Get well soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Get well soon. I'm really sorry for that. And thank you very much that you are attending the class despite those pains.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, let me explain those points in detail, but I will need your full attention today. Really, I will need your full attention. Those points are part of the exam. Those points are part of our research, our term project. Okay? Those are among the main pillars of this course. Okay? Do you know the pillars of the building? Okay? Anthropology means that we study topics about human life and human culture, right? This is anthropology. So, ology means study. So, how are we going to study? We have to do a research. How can we do a research if we don't know the steps of the research, right? So, those are the very basic steps that every student, not in anthropology only, in anthropology, in sociology, in marketing, in political science, in communication, in any specialization whatsoever, need to know. Okay? So the steps of doing a research are extremely important almost in all subjects. Okay? So we have here 8 stages in the research process, and but take care that some of those stages, they involve inside them, they contain sub stages. So the first thing is identifying the problem. What is the general topic that you are going to discuss? What is the general topic that you want to know information about? Okay, what is the problem? So for example, a while ago I was speaking, I was saying, let's assume that you are going to do a research about the impact of turning to online education rather than uh, actual class attendance. Okay, so the impact of that on the educational outcomes. So this is the general topic. Okay, uh, but although it is a general topic, it is specific. We didn't yet specify the society. We didn't yet specify the social group. We didn't yet specify the time period. Okay, but you have identified the problem. The problem is the impact of A on B, the impact of a particular independent variable on a particular dependent variable. Okay? Uh, do we need to immediately decide which society, which time period, and all of the extra specifications? No, we'll just wait a little bit until we do the literature review. Why? Because there is no value at all of reinventing what is already invented. There is no value at all of rediscovering what is already discovered. So if you just go ahead and do your research without a literature review, you can actually repeat what other people have done before you. And in this case, your research will add zero knowledge to the human knowledge. Okay? A good research is the research that is adding information, that is adding to the human knowledge, that is contributing to the human knowledge. Okay, so let's say that that Jeff told us, "Look, guys, I have made a very important invention." We'll tell him, "Very good, Jasjit. What did you invent?" Jasjit will say that I invented a car. We'll tell him, "But Jasjit, it's very good that you made this effort, but you have invented something that has already been invented decades ago. So, so what is the value of that?" Or we'll say that I have discovered that gold is a metal. We'll tell him, but Jajit, we are sorry, this is not a discovery. This is a scientific fact that humanity has discovered um, many eras ago. So, what is the function? What is the value of that? Okay. Or I have done a research about some social or cultural thing that or we already have many researches exactly about it, and the question that you are asking already answered. Okay, so there is no originality here, there is no uniqueness. So how can I choose research question that is unique, that is original, that is not repeating what other people have already achieved before me? By reading the previous researches about the topic. When I read the previous researches about the topic, okay, I study them, I summarize them, I write a report about them, okay? As our great classmate said today, that will benefit me that will introduce the topic to me if I'm not having enough information about it. That will add to my knowledge, that will add to my experience, okay? But that can let me think about some research questions. But the most important thing here, the most important benefit, the most important advantage is not to repeat the same findings of previous researches again. Because in this way, I'm wasting my own effort, I'm wasting my own research, right? So, by reading the previous researches, I will understand what are the things that they have achieved, and I will know where is the information gap, and I will dedicate my own research to gather data that will cover this information gap or part of the information gap. Okay? You get it? So you understand now what is reviewing. So I need to go and read the previous researches about the topic. Just reading, understanding, summarizing, writing a report about that. Okay? And now I can say my topic is the impact of X on Y in society B, and I will focus on social group C in time period from 1 to 2. Okay? So let's assume that you are going to topic, let's assume that you are going to decide that the main research question will be what will be the impact of turning to online education in University Canada West. Okay, from March 2020 until February 2021. Okay, the impact of this turning to online education on the educational outcomes. The educational outcomes means that you know that the students go to the university and graduate. By the time they graduate, which skills they have developed. This is an educational outcome. Okay, what information they have benefited, how this knowledge is going to help them finding a good job opportunity, how this knowledge will help them achieving a successful career or successful life. Okay, so these are educational outcomes. Another person, so let's say that this is the main research question of Mandeep. Manpreet might come to say, I will not study the impact of turning to online education on educational outcomes, but I will study the impact of turning to online education on the mental health and psychological well-being of students. Okay, so now Mandeep, okay, found a new topic. He used the same independent variable, okay, in order to, and he only changed the dependent variable to make a new research, to make a new topic, right? Uh, Carol might come and say, I will study the impact of turning to online education on the interaction and the cooperation between students and each other. Okay, so this is a third topic, although she is using the same independent variable in the same university about the same students in the same time period. So just by changing the dependent variable, we have suggested now three different researches, three different research questions. You get it? Okay. So now we are in point number 3, setting research questions, objectives, and hypotheses. The easiest way to set a research question is to study the impact of a particular independent variable on a particular dependent variable in a particular society about a particular social group during a particular time period. Okay? You get it? Like studying the impact of online education, okay, on the students' interactive, collaborative relationships, okay, in a particular society, which is the UCW, located in Vancouver, during a particular time period from March 2020 until February 2021. And who is the research population in this case? The research population is the students of UCW. Okay? So now it comes to the objectives. The objectives means what do I need to find? I need to answer the question. Okay, but which kind of information I'm searching for? Am I searching for quantitative information or I'm searching for qualitative information? Do you remember when we discussed last class that some researchers are called quantitative researchers if their primary goal is to find quantitative data, numerical data, statistical data, and some researchers are called qualitative researchers if the primary goal is to find qualitative data, descriptive data, explanatory data, the data that is that explains a particular situation, explains feelings, opinions, experiences, interrelationships between people and each other that can be described in words but cannot be accounted in numbers. Okay, so which one of those I'm more focusing on? Am I focusing more on obtaining quantitative data, or I'm focusing more on qualitative data, or I want them I want them equally at the same time? Okay, so now I decided what is my independent variable, what is my dependent variable. I decided which kind of data I want to obtain. It comes to the hypothesis. Okay, hypothesis. I explained the hypothesis last class, and I think Rajan Preet can remind us what do we mean by a hypothesis. What is a hypothesis, Rajan Preet? Rajan Preet.
Yes, Professor.
Yes. What is a hypothesis? I explained it last class. Remember my explanation.
Last, sir, on Monday there was no class.
It was not Monday, it was last Wednesday.
I
I
didn't.
know I know that Monday there was no class.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm talking about last Wednesday. Do you remember what is a hypothesis?
It's like an assumption.
Exactly.
Yeah.
About what?
I just like know this.
Okay, logically. Let's say that you don't forget anything at all because 7 days is a very long time.
Yeah,
Okay,
Professor.
and you don't remember, but logically, if you are saying assumption, so an assumption about what?
Um,
Just logically, use logic.
मतलब, oh,
So we just
some,
we just
like about question,
okay. So an assumption about the possible answer of
like
the research
finding.
questions, right?
Yeah, we are finding research question.
Okay. So is this assumption uh, definite information or possible information?
Can you repeat, Professor?
Is this assumption definite information or possible information?
Possible information.
Okay, so it is not definite. Why it is not definite? Because I didn't gather the data yet, I didn't
Yeah.
collect the data yet, and I didn't analyze the data yet, I didn't make the conclusion yet. But
Yeah.
after collecting the data, and gathering the information and studying this information and making the conclusion, I will discover to which extent this assumption was correct, incorrect, or partially correct. Okay, thank you
Yeah.
very much, Rajan Preet. Now we have an addition from Harmanjeet. Harmanjeet, yes.
I don't know how to explain it. I just have a meaning of it.
Okay,
That's
okay.
a piece
So
of
what?
info,
Okay. What is the meaning of a hypothesis?
um, a piece of theory for further investigations we're
A,
working
pi-
on.
a piece of what?
Theory or explanation.
Can you give us an example, please?
Mm, for example, if if a person whom I'm doing the investigation thing provided me something, provided me any evidence,
Mm,
and I am going through it for the further investigation.
Okay, let me give you an example, and you tell me
I don't have a good example
an
right now.
assumption. I will tell you an example, and you will give me a possible explanation. Okay, so
Yeah.
if my example, my research question now is to which extent uh, the manners of eating, okay, the dining manners,
Mm.
okay, were responsible for the transmission of COVID-19 virus among a particular social group during a given time. Okay, so this is a
Mm.
research question, and you want to make a hypothesis. Tell me some logical, possible,
Uh,
assumed answer that we don't know yet whether it is correct or incorrect, but it might be correct.
if I'm explaining this, it would be a hypothesis, obviously, right?
Yes.
So, so basically, if, for example, if I don't have table manners, I don't know how to eat, or I'm not washing my hands. I don't wash my hands before eating. It further leads to the COVID-19. That's what's going on
Okay,
at that time.
great. So your hypothesis now is that the people of a particular social group, if they are not washing their hands before eating, that might have been responsible for the transmission of COVID-19 virus
Yeah,
among them, right?
if they're
Uh,
socializing with the society,
Very good,
with the
very good,
people outside.
very
So
good,
obviously, you
Armanji.
gave me an evidence that if I don't have any table manner, it will leads to the COVID-19.
Oh,
So
okay,
I
wait.
further explain it. That's a hypothesis.
Just wait, Armanjit. So you have given a logical, possible answer of the research question, right?
Yeah,
Okay, but is it a definite answer or a possible answer?
it's a possible answer. You tell
It
me.
is a possible answer. Why it is not definite? Because I didn't gather the data yet.
Yeah,
Okay, and
data.
I didn't analyze the data yet. I didn't reach the conclusion. Okay, but you are
Yeah,
putting this answer, this assumption, as a starting point, and then we will do the rest of the steps of the research, and at the end you will be able to know to which extent this hypothesis was correct. Okay,
yeah.
you
I
get
got it.
it? Thank you
Got it.
very much,
Thank you, Professor.
Armanjit. Thank you. Okay, you understand me? Okay.
Yeah, got you.
Is this hypothesis based on any data? No, not yet. But is it affected by any previous data? Maybe. Is it affected of the logic of the researcher? Maybe. Is it affected by the experiences of the researcher? Maybe. Okay? All of those might be possible sources of a hypothesis. Okay? Then we will go to point number 4, which is choosing the study design. The study design, when I say what is your house design, you will tell me I have the room in this place, and inside the room I have the bed in this side, and I have the desk on the other side, and then in the lounge area I have 3 couches on different. Okay, so this is a design. In the research, how are we designing? Designing the research, designing the study means which tools I'm going to use in order to gather the data. I'm going to use primary sources or secondary sources or both. Okay, and I know from the objectives that I know that I need qualitative data. So in the case of qualitative data, which primary sources are the most efficient to get for me qualitative data, and if I'm using quantitative data, which primary sources are best, are most efficient in achieving the quantitative data. Okay, so choosing the study design, actually choosing the study design, this is the skeleton of the research. This is the very central step in doing the research. Okay, and in order to be able to choose the study design, I must understand the things that we have previously explained. What do I mean by secondary sources? What do I mean by primary sources? And I think this is a very easy question now. Who would like to answer those questions? The definition of primary sources and the definition of secondary sources. I want to see hands up. I want to see hands up, please, quickly. I'm asking about something so simple. Carol, yes.
Well, the primary resources is like when you observe and record like the information that you can.
I'm sorry because there is some noise beside you. I didn't hear very well. Can you repeat, please?
It's like obtain the information from the field, like
Very good.
observe and
Very
record the
good.
information,
Very good. And the secondary sources?
like information, previous information that you got, that information that was previously studied.
Okay, very good. Very good. Harmeet. Harmeet. Hello, Harmeet. How are you doing, Harmeet? Harmeet Kaur. Harmeet, I'm speaking to you. If you are not answering, so that means that you are not attending. Harmeet. Harmeet Kaur. Okay. Jasjeet. Jasjeet.
Yes, yes, Professor.
Jasjeet, now Carol told us that the primary sources means that the information that is directly from the field of the study, directly from the people whom I'm studying. Okay?
Yes.
What are the possible tools that I can use in order to gather this primary information directly from the people? And in what are those tools? Can you give us 3 examples of tools that I can use in order to gather information from the people?
Yes, Professor. Um,
Like, for example, if I want to gather quantitative data from a large number of people, okay?
yes,
So,
yes.
what would be the best tool? You choose one: questionnaires, or interviews, or observation. You choose one of those 3 and tell me why. I'm making the answer easy for you now. If you are going to
Maybe
gather
question, maybe questionnaires.
questionnaires, very good. Why?
Because if I will talk to them, like if I will do the question, so what are my queries and what are my questions, so I can make my data more clear by talking to them directly.
Okay, but in the interviews, you are talking to them face to face. So why the interviews are not better than the questionnaire in this case? Hmm. Why the interviews are not better than the questionnaires in this case? You said that I will repeat the question again. Okay, the question is, if you are going to gather, if you want to gather quantitative data from a large number of people, okay,
Yeah.
so why the questionnaire would be the most appropriate tool in this case. If I want to gather qualitative, if I want to gather quantitative data from a large number of people. So why would the questionnaire be the most appropriate tool in this case? A very logical question, Sulang. Sulang.
In my opinion, I think it is because it is a large group of people. So it would be
Okay, so why the questionnaire is the most appropriate tool to gather information from a large group of people?
to save time. To save time to correct a lot of information from a lot of people.
The answer is much simpler than you think. Carol.
Because it's gonna count the number of people.
Okay,
You
very good. And very good. Okay, what else? What else? Now I want to give. Uh, now let me ask. Let me ask. Uh, Let me ask. Prabjot. Prabjot, is your mic working now? Prabjot. Okay, Navdeep. Navdeep. How are you doing, Navdeep? Navdeep.
Professor,
Yes, Navdeep. Navdeep, what is a questionnaire? What do you mean by questionnaire?
um, Professor, in questionnaire we
What
can
is
ask
the
question.
meaning of a questionnaire? You said you will ask questions.
Hello,
Are those
can you hear me?
questions, wait, are those questions oral questions
Hello.
or written questions?
It's written question.
Very good. Very good. Written question. Those written questions might be on paper and might be electronically written and sent to people through emails. Okay? Why this is the best way to reach a large number of people? Why this is the best way to reach a large number of people? Yes.
Honestly, I don't know, Professor.
It is logic. Just try, even if you give me a wrong answer, I have no problem. But just try to think why the questionnaire, okay, is the best way to collect information from a large number of people. Okay, does it cost you anything to write questions on a paper? Okay, does it cost you anything to write questions in an electronic form and send it by email? Does it cost you anything? No.
No, Professor.
So it is cheap, right?
Yeah,
It is affordable.
yes.
Okay. Does it consume Do you need to go to each person and tell him, look, I have a questionnaire for you, or you can just from your place send it to 1,000 persons at the same time?
10,000 to same time.
Okay, so if I want to gather information from a large number of people, the questionnaire, sending questionnaires to them might be a very practical tool to use, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And in the questionnaire, if I want the quantitative data, I will include, will I use closed-ended questions or open-ended questions? By the way, I'm reminding you and I'm warning, I'm sorry, if you are not paying attention today, you are losing too much. Of course, I'm going to ask questions about that. Okay? So
Okay.
please, please, please pay attention and wake up by any means. You have to benefit from today's class. Okay? So let's return to the questionnaire. The questionnaire might include closed-ended questions and open-ended questions. Which one of them is more helpful in obtaining quantitative data? Who would like to answer this question? Thank you very much, Navdeep.
Yes.
Okay. Uh, Now, Carol. Carol, again, I'm sorry that I'm calling you again. In the questionnaire, I might have closed-ended questions or open-ended questions. Which one of them is better in obtaining quantitative data, and why?
To obtain quantitative, it would be closed questions.
Very good. Can you tell us what do you mean by closed-ended questions?
That you have like many options, like specific options, so you can choose.
Okay, very good. They look like the multiple choice and
Yeah.
people can choose. Okay, very good. Thank you very much. So the closed-ended questions, which look like the multiple choice, can be very helpful in obtaining quantitative data, numerical data, because I will be able to explain, I will be able to count how many persons chose C in question 2, how many ones chose D in question 5, and like that. So that will lead to numbers, that will lead to statistics. Okay? And if I want to add an additional value to this research, so I can add a little bit of qualitative data through open-ended questions. Do you know when we do surveys, when you have a question at the end, do you have any extra opinions? Do you have particular experiences about whatsoever? And people write rather than choosing an option. Okay, so this is called open-ended question. And the open-ended question is good in obtaining just a little bit more of qualitative data that I can add it to the quantitative data, which I already got through the closed-ended questions. Okay? Okay? Another tool I can use to obtain data, okay, but from a smaller number of people, and you will logically know why, is called the interview. The interview. What is an interview? Of course, I'm not talking about the job interviews at all. I'm talking about the research interview. The research interview means that you will ask oral questions. You will ask oral questions, okay, to some people from the field. Okay, you'll ask oral questions to some people from the field, and those oral questions might be direct questions which require direct answers, and those questions are pre-prepared from before the interview. Those ones are called structured interview. Structured interview is the interview that contains pre-decided direct questions that require direct answers from the interviewees. Okay, so Jasjit is the interviewer, Danny is the interviewee. Jasjit will ask Danny very specific pre-decided questions. Okay, but uh, but we have our Amrit Preet. Amrit Preet is also a researcher and will say, I don't like structured interviews. I don't like direct questions and answers because that is putting the interviewee under stress. And if the person is under stress, this person doesn't like to give accurate information. Okay, you will feel like like if the police is interviewing you, you will feel tensioned. But I prefer a more relaxed interview that has a friendly environment in which the interviewee will be happy to talk and give lots of information and lots of details. And that's why I will not make the interview as questions and answers, but I will make the interview as an open conversation. So people will feel more relaxed and they will happy to, to give me lots of details. Okay? So now I want you to tell me if the main target of this interview is to get quantitative data, which kind of interviews will be more preferred? And if the main target of the interview is to obtain qualitative data, which type of interviews will be more preferred in this case? Who will volunteer to answer this question? Hmm. Who will volunteer to answer this question? Tell me. Tell me. I will repeat the question. If the main target of the interview is to obtain quantitative data, in this case, would we prefer the structured interview or the unstructured interview? And if the main target of the interview is to obtain qualitative data, will we prefer the unstructured interview or the structured interview? And why? Okay, Sulang. Sulang. Yes.
Yes. If our main is to do research about quantitative, it will be better to use structure in interviews.
Excellent. Very good. Very good. Very good, Sulang. Yes, because I have direct questions and answers, and it will be easy for me to get numbers and count.
Yes.
Okay? Especially if I will use the technique of the closed-ended questions in the structured interview, and I will give you specific options. Okay? But if I want to get qualitative data that and the more details about real life, it is better to provide this friendly environment and an open discussion in a state of systematic questions, and this is called unstructured interview. So, what is an unstructured interview? The unstructured interview is the interview that is conducted in the form of an open discussion rather than pre decided research questions. Okay? Rather than pre decided interview questions, not research questions. Okay? But what if I mix between the unstructured and the structured in order to get both types of information? In this case, it is called semi structured interviews. The semi structured interviews are the ones which include systematic pre decided questions with some discussion in between the questions. Okay? And of course, the interviews are oral, and it is a meeting between two persons, the interviewer and the interviewee. Okay? So that's why in the interview, naturally, logically, I can't study the same large number of people whom I can reach through a questionnaire. Because in the interview, I have a time limitation. I don't have endless time to meet thousands of people. So in the interview, I will need a smaller number of people, or my capacity is only a smaller number of people than the ones that I can study or I can get information from them through the questionnaire. Okay? You get it? What if I'm not satisfied with the interview and I'm not satisfied with the questionnaire and I want more in-depth, detailed information about the interaction between the people whom I am studying and each other, how they interact with each other at home, how they interact with each other at work, how they interact with each other during playing. And if I interview them, they will not tell me the full detailed truth. Okay, they might either lie or just give me some superficial information, or they might hide some of the reality. Okay, and I want to see the reality by my own eyes and record it. So in this case, what would be the most useful tool? Sulang,
Fieldwork.
what?
Fieldwork. Fieldwork.
Yes, in the field work, what is the act of viewing, the act of watching? What do you call?
Observation.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sulang. Observation. Observation. Thank you. Can somebody other than Sulang tell me the difference between participant observation and non-participant observation? It is very easy. Somebody other than Sulang. Participant observation and Danny. Yes. Danny.
Yes.
Yes.
I think that participant observation includes the one observing, um, maybe um, calling upon people to
Mm,
calling upon people to ask them about their culture maybe.
mm,
And non-participant observation is watching
Okay.
watching in details what.
Okay. So thank you very much. So the non-participant observation means that I watch, but I don't join the social activity. But the participant observation is called participant. So I will participate. The
Yeah.
researcher will participate. Will participate in what? Will participate in the social activities of the group.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's say that you want to study in how the soccer players in a particular team are cooperating and interacting with each other. Okay, you might do that through non-participant observation, and you just watch them during the playtime, and you will be able to record some information. But you might say this is not enough. I want even deeper information, more realistic information. So you will decide to go and be part of the team, and you will play with them, you will interact with them, so you will have closer uh, ability to understand the details about their social relationships. Okay, you get it? So those three ways are the most famous tools to get qualitative data: the questionnaires, the interviews, and the observation. And in each one of them, we talked about some variations. In the questionnaires, we talked about closed-ended questions and open-ended questions, and in which way each one of them is useful for a particular function. Okay, in the interviews, we talked about the structured interviews, the semi-structured interviews, and the unstructured interviews. In the observation, we talked about the participant observation and the non-participant observation. Okay, you get it? Do we have any other primary sources? Of course, we might have, but let's focus on those very main three ones. Okay? If I don't want to do a field research at all, and I don't want to go to the field at all, and I don't want to gather information from the people at all, and I say that I will only use secondary sources. I will use previous researches, I will use magazines, I will use books, I will use the mass media in order to gather information. Okay? So that means that I will only depend on secondary sources, and I will not use any primary sources at all. What do we call this type of research? This type is called a desk research. Desk research. I'm sitting on my chair when the desk is in front of me and the computer is in front of me, and I will look for the information online. I can go to the some of the books and get information from them. I can get information from magazines or newspapers. Okay, I get information from governmental statistics. I give the information. I only use pre-collected information in order to do my research, and I will not use questionnaires or interviews or observation or any primary source at all. What do we call this research? It's called desk research. Desk research. And if I'm going to the field of the study, this is called the field research. Okay? You get it? Okay? So you need to decide which type of data, quantitative or qualitative, and then you need to decide which type of tools you need to use in order to get the quantitative, which type of tools you need to use in order to the qualitative. And you need also to think about the option, are you going to use any primary sources at all, or you are only going to use secondary sources? Okay? Deciding on the sample design. So now we finished one, two, three, four. So now I'm in five, deciding on the sample design. What is a sample? A sample means that a number of people, a smaller number of people from a bigger number of people. This is a sample. So let's assume that the students of UCW are 3,000 students, and I will choose from those 3,000 students only 100 to ask them particular questions, or to observe them, or to ask them to do whatsoever. Okay? You get it? But you might ask me, why do I need to do that? Because sometimes, if I want the primary sources from a very large number of people, okay, I cannot, I simply don't have enough resources. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough facilities to go and study 10,000 persons or even 3,000 persons. Okay? So what do? I take a representative, put 100 lines under this word. I need to take a representative sample. Okay? So let's assume that we have 3,000 students, and I only choose in the sample the ones who have a GPA above 3.8, and I will ignore all of the other ones. I will only take the very top graded students. Is this a representative sample? Certainly no, because it doesn't represent all types of students. Okay, if I'm going to choose a sample that consists of males only, so it is not representative. If I'm going to choose a sample that is composed of people who originally came from a particular country, it is not representative. So the representative sample should include all of the types of people, all of the groups of people in the research population. Okay? So if we have 50% males and 50% females in the research population, the sample should be also very close to this proportion. Okay? You get it? So choosing, okay, the sample itself. Do I always need a sample? No. If if you are doing a desk research and you don't have any interaction with the field of research, okay, and you are not going to use any primary data at all, in this case, you don't need a sample at all. You only need a sample if you are targeting the research population in order to get from them qualitative information. Okay? Does it have to be qualitative information? No. I just wanted you to think whether qualitative information or quantitative information. Okay? But as long as you want, to get information, direct information, primary information from a large number of people that you can't study them all. So in this case, your only solution is to do what? Is to pick a representative sample from them. Okay. Uh, how can I pick a representative sample? There are many ways to pick a sample, but I will talk about the easiest one and the most accurate one. I will only talk about two. So pay attention, please. I will talk about the easiest one and the most accurate one. The easiest one is called simple random sample. You see, simple random sample. And it looks like a lottery. It is not a lottery, but it looks like a lottery. That I randomly choose like 50 persons from the 1,000 persons or 100 persons from the 3,000 persons, and I choose them randomly. Uh, and every person in the population before choosing the sample would have the same probability of being chosen. Okay, and so this is called simple random sample, and of course this is the easiest, this is the cheapest, this is the fastest. Okay, this is suitable for beginners, for the students who are doing research. So this is called simple random sample. But I sometimes we might have a little problem with the simple random sample. What is this problem? That maybe just by chance that the simple random sample will lead to proportions that are different from the real proportions. That in the real proportions we have in the population 50% males and 50% females, but I found that the sample is 90% females and only 10% males. So what's that? So in this case, simple random sample might sometimes lead to samples which are not very representative, but that usually is not happening, but it might happen. So if I want, if I'm doing a very strategic research that that, for example, the government is waiting for this research in order to take very important decisions. So this research needs to be so precise, and I want to be 100% sure that all of the members of the research population are equally are represented in the sampling, in the sample. Okay, so I'm going to use a kind of sampling called stratified sorry, stratified random sample. How to write the word stratified? Write strata, 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 then remove the A at the end and put IFIED, stratified random sample. What is a stratified random sample? Let's say that I'm doing the research about all of the students of UCW, and I have 3,000 students. I will say I want to represent the males and the females with their correct proportions. So please, I will take the student and the males alone, and they will be a group, and the females alone, they will be a group. Okay. What about age groups? Also, I will divide each group into different age groups. Okay. What about the cultural background? So I can even make more divisions according to the cultural background. Then I will go to each group and I will choose a sample like 5% from each group. And at the end, in this case, I will have a total sample that uh, represents all of the different groups in the research population. Okay? So now I have the sample, whether I used the simple random sample or I used the stratified random sample. I have the sample. What will I do with them? I ask them questions, I observe them, I interview them, I will make them answer a questionnaire. Okay? Whatever way of data collection. Then what I'm going to do with this data? I think about this data. I try to organize the data. I will try to understand the data. And this is called the data analysis. So I will be able to make some conclusions out of this data. Okay? And I will write a report about that. I finished the research. Now I have done a great research that has followed very clear systematic steps. I finished. Thank you very much. In which now it is your turn to give me your comments about what we have explained today.